Morning folks, I'm here outside the Arrecife Grand Hotel, and the reason we are here today is not to talk about the Arrecife Grand, it's to talk about the Islote Fermina, which is actually not the right name for it, but it is right outside the hotel. There's a little bridge that goes across to it. So Islote means islet, which is like a small island. There was a lady called Fermina Santana who in 1918 got permission to use this island to build ships on, and one of the sloops she built there she called La Fermina, and so it changed its name from the original name. Well, it didn't change its name, I don't think. I think it was, that came later, but people started calling it the islet of Fermina. But it used to be called Islote Quebrado, or de Quebrado, which means the broken islet. So in the 70s, I think late 60s it was commissioned, in the 70s it was built. César Manrique was commissioned basically to redesign this whole park area here, and the park stretches all the way down there to the end, folks, but also to redesign this islet. And since then it kind of became known as Islote de Amor, or what we would call in English, Love Island. Ain't that weird? Bloody hate television like that, I really do. Then again, I'm a grumpy old git. So yeah, it's Love Island, or Island of the Lovers, and it's got some of those beautiful, really rich, deep blue pools that Manrique is famous for, the sort you would have seen if you've been keeping up with our series on Jameos del Agua, and you'll see them in other places as well. But I do believe that over here, like, nobody's allowed to swim in these pools whatsoever. They are purely decoration. Mrs. Tooth has stayed in the room. Her poor foot, bless her. She's tableted up and she's just taking a slow morning, and then we're going to decide what we do for the rest of the day. But I couldn't be here and not come across and see this. And if you had a look at our room review, you will see that you can actually see this place from our room. I'll flick you around in a minute and show you the hotel from this side of the island. I guess, folks, just to put it in some context, one of the reasons I like Manrique so much, you know, a lot of people come here and they go, oh, what a lovely island, you know. It's not built up like Gran Canaria or Tenerife. You haven't got those like big skyscrapers all over the place. In fact, the Grand Hotel, there's a bit of history to that. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I'm not sure that sort of loads of people know exactly why that is. And essentially, sort of Manrique had a lot more power on the island than any sort of sculptor artist should have. And finally, it became a law after a while about the number of floors you could have on buildings here. So let me just flick you back and we'll have a look at the hotel from here. So Manrique was actually off the island. He was on mainland Spain. And there are various stories, but someone says the mayor took a bit of a backhander, and while Manrique was gone, they stuck up the Grand Hotel, and he came back and was like, what the is that? Where did that come from? That weren't there when I left. And he said, right, fine, whatever. And apparently it got burnt down. And then he said, no, rebuild the bloody thing. Rebuild it to remind people what this island would look like if you turn it into another Benidorm, turn it into another Gran Canaria, another Tenerife. And that's exactly what they did. So that is the tallest building on the island, and it's the only one that we'll ever have now, because it's become law. We'll only have the right to be that high. And I actually kind of think, what a grown-up thing to do, right? Turn around and go, if you want your entire island to look like that and not have the view, then you go ahead and do that. But I'm telling you, keeping it down to like sort of 3-4 stories max is the way to go. So we've got some more cacti here. I've decided on cacti. I'm not going with cactuses. Let's get in and have a look at breakfast. Hello to Mrs. Tooth. Hello to Mrs. Tooth. Hello to Mrs. Tooth.
I'm going out to meet you there, 'cause I hate it when you're not there. I know, we're going somewhere. What's moving under our feet, and the look in your eyes to get me. I know, we got a good thing. Under the night, everything's brighter. Cuts through the...
How stunning is this, people? There's a little cafeteria here. I was going to say cafeteria. We're going to walk round now and have a look out over that sea. But yeah, no swimming here whatsoever. And if you did have a look at our cactus garden video, you would have seen a very similar type pool, albeit a much smaller one there. But this is just stunning. It really, really is. And being right here on the seafront as well, you know. You've got that bit of breeze. Sun beating down on you. And this fantastic view with the cacti, sorry. I am never going to get that one right. With the cacti and the black pecan gravel. And then those stunningly blue pools. You've got here a history and culture centre, so I might have a little wander in there in a minute and film anything, but let's just do a lap of this, folks. Dominance of the Arrecife Grand over the skyline. So I'll have a little mooch up here. You've got some more black pecan and cacti and volcanic rocks. And a really nice view back over. You can't really see Playa Reducto at the moment, but you can see the mountains off there in the distance, the volcanoes. Now, I'm not a big fan of the word, but like, I can hear that music in the background still. You probably can't from the cafe there. And it's vibey. It's got a vibe, people. Is there an age that a man should stop using a word like vibe? What about only in Ohio? Can I get away with that? I'll be talking about skibbity toilets next. Oh, I say that to my 15-year-old son. He just looks at me like, what the, Dad? Grown up and pull your big boy pants on. You're not allowed to say things like that. I'm going to have a little look into the history of this bit of the park. Maybe they have tables in there at some point, because these little walls with the round centres, they look like booths or like windbreaks. Yeah, I can't see any other reason for them unless it is just decorative. But all of a sudden, in a really open space, I feel quite enclosed. So yeah, that's weirded me out a little bit. So I do feel now I've just walked from somewhere that's completely open into a space where I feel really closed in, and I didn't even notice it happening. And I think with a lot of the stuff that Manrique did, you know, it's lovely to look at without a shadow of a doubt, but a lot of it is as much about the way it makes you feel as anything else. This video is brought to you with limited interruptions. What an absolutely lovely little place though. And this is free, people. You just come and wander over here. You don't have to pay to come in here. Obviously, like I said, you've got the cafe there if you want to stop and have a coffee and what have you. We literally just had breakfast, so I'm not really going to do that today. But no, I'm quietly impressed with this. I think it's a very nice space. And hola buenas! Video bombers! Whoa! Gotta love a little bit of audience participation, people. Can't be doing without that. Right, folks, this is probably a really good time to remind you that if you like what we're doing, please do remember to like, comment, subscribe and share. Doesn't cost you a thing, and it really does help us out. And don't forget to ding that notification bell. It was quite dark and oppressive in that little bit, and then all of a sudden you are back out looking over all of this. I mean, what is not to like, people? What is not to like? This is bloody gorgeous, I tell thee, bloody gorgeous.